Welcome to the Fabric of America, the podcast that celebrates small businesses and the remarkable stories that weave our communities together. We're your hosts, Melissa Otto
and Matt Banover.
Matt is a fashion designer passionate about storytelling through style.
And Melissa is a seamstress on a mission to make sewing cool again and inspire the next generation. We sit down with small business owners, artisans, and dreamers to uncover the stories behind their brand, what inspires them, challenges them, and keeps them creating.
Because we believe that behind every idea, every design, every stitch, there's a story worth sharing. So grab a drink from your favorite local shop and join us as we weave together conversations about passion, perseverance, and the power of small business.
I often say that math is my biggest bully. Like I never feel math is always the thing that takes me down a notch in life. I think I've got it together, and then somebody puts a bill in front of me and I have to figure out the tax. And
so the tip, you and the tip is hilarious.
The tip. I cannot do it. It makes me sad, and I don't have the brain for it. I can make pretty clothing, and that's about it. It's a sad thing to admit.
But two things are certain in life, Matt.
Death and taxes.
Death and taxes.
Death and taxes. That was a good quote from Mitchell Black. That movie.
Oh, first person to say it? That's funny.
Yeah. Are you good at math? Like,
I was good at math growing up. I would not say that I'm good at math now. I did like calculus. Like, I had a boyfriend who was an engineer, and I could like do his college work with him.
What?
But there was a time, but not anymore. No way.
No, I cannot. Like, even when I have to figure out the tax on a garment, I ask a friend.
Oh, that's funny.
Oh yeah.
See, I had a shop that I worked at for a minute where everything was done paper and pencil and calculator. So we had to do it actually by hand. And that was a pretty good learning experience. You're not going to get that anymore, but
no, when I started bars, I had to, because I didn't have a POS system. Everything was done but my girlfriend at the time had made an Excel sheet that did it automatically. And then I fucked it up once. And I was like, oh no. So since then.
What's crazy is that the sales tax is like the easy part. Like,
no, it's not.
It is, because
definitely
we
not.
Talking to Allie Blair today from Allie Blair Bookkeeping, who we were so excited to have on because she was able to shed some light on taxes, especially for taxes for small businesses. And why I say that calculating the sales tax is the easy part is because there is so much to know and understand and wrap your head around in the different ways that you can file your taxes, what you can write off. Obviously, things can be different state to state, but overarchingly similar across all the borders. So it was really fun to talk to her. I thought it was great. I had so many questions. I just kept on peppering her with them because I was so excited.
Yeah, and that her as a guest was honestly like when you have a history teacher and they make history the greatest thing you've ever learned, or you've got a science teacher that just loves what they do and now you love science. That's what she was like in this conversation. I hate all things math, but she's so fired up about it. I'm just like, damn, yeah, no, I'm in. It sounds awesome. Can you just do all this for me?
Luckily, she and other tax professionals can just do it for you. But
thank God.
Also shed some light on this idea of hiring an independent CPA versus someone who works for a major company. So she breaks down a bit of that too, which I thought was really helpful. So I'm really excited for the listener to get to know her and to learn a little bit more about that industry and how it might benefit them.
Yeah, and she gave this great angle about just how hiring somebody to do your books and do your taxes, it's a good business decision. That's not what you didn't start your business to do your books or to do taxes at the end of the year. Be a professional and outsource that. So I love that that's the angle that she took. So yes, let's dive into our conversation with Allie here on the Fabric of America. All right, Allie. Well, thank you so much for being here.
Yes.
This is so exciting to have you.
I'm so excited.
No.
I've been following Melissa specifically since I started my business, which has been
Really?
almost 4 years. I don't
That's crazy.
even know like how I started following you because I was not like getting married or anything at all. I was very single. So just like a badass woman in business.
thank you.
It's super cool.
I appreciate
And like badass, but like so nice. And like always like
Let's wait until the end of this out.
okay.
We'll see if you take that back.
Yeah.
She won't, but you might.
Yeah,
Like,
true, very true.
you might on her behalf.
Very true. I endure most of the torment.
Yeah, it's you.
Well, yeah, no, I guess, you are Connecticut's coolest seamstress.
Self-proclaimed, but sure, yeah.
Some would say.
I think
Yeah.
so.
No, we appreciate that. Where are you
Yeah.
located?
In Stafford. I'm in Stafford now. I started
Really?
in Columbia, which is like near Willimantic.
Yeah.
That's where I grew up. So my son and I had a 1-bedroom apartment, and that's where I started my business out of. Just kind of COVID, I lost my job.
Yeah.
And I didn't know what to do as a single mom, like how to figure something out.
Oh my God.
So I just did what I knew. And I used to run offices. I used to do policy and procedure. I worked in different various settings in corporate and retail, more as like a management side. So I posted a post on Facebook and I was like, can some business owners please like message me? I have like some questions because I have a marketing background. So like, let's do some research.
Cool.
And so this man messaged me and he was like, what questions do you have? And I was like, these are the services that I'm thinking about providing. Like, what would you pay for something like this? Is this something you would even pay for or like consider hiring someone for? And he was like, I need you to start yesterday. And I was like,
Yeah.
I'll be your
okay.
guinea pig.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Can I bring my kid? And he was like, sure, you could do whatever you want. And I was like, okay, great.
Yeah.
So
Gosh.
he owns an excavation company and blue collar is like what I grew up in. My dad owns a stonemasonry and landscaping business. So I was like, cool, this like jives with us. My son was like 2.5 or 3 at the time, obsessed with excavators. So I was like, great
win-win.
fit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So we used to go there. I started off like going every day. And Carson would hang out. He could nap. He was like still breastfeeding. So it's just really helpful for me as a young single mom. I had no, there was no childcare in
Yeah.
COVID. Like there was nothing. Both my parents work. And so
And what year and month?
that was 2021.
Wow.
Yep.
So like the summer of
lifting.
21.
Yeah, kind of lifting, but super weird.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was like
We're masking, we're not masking, we're
Yeah.
like, whatever.
people either
6 feet
welcome
apart
you
still, yeah.
or
Yeah.
yeah, that's a tough time.
And like in the beginning, I got laid off. I was supposed to be able to work from home. And then they had they put in this thing with FMLA. If your daycare closed, your employer had to pay you 60% of your wages and you could be on FMLA. And I was going to work. Like I got a computer so I could work from home. And my employer was just like, we
No,
don't want to
sorry.
do this. And I thought my world was over.
Yeah.
Like it was the worst. I was just talking to a woman that's starting a business about this last night because she got fired and she's devastated. She got fired from her corporate job. And I was like, it was the worst thing at the time for me. I literally had to go on antidepressants. Like it was so devastating because so much of our identities is tied to who we are and
Took
how
the
we
words
earn our
right
money.
out of my mouth. That was exactly what I was going to say.
And like,
Isn't it strange? Like that,
Yeah.
and you almost don't realize it. You sort of morph into that being your identity and a huge chunk of your personality, which is understandable because that's where we spend most of our time as adults.
correct.
But
How
it's
long
not
were you at that
healthy
job?
either.
I started there when I got pregnant, like right when I found out I was pregnant. So I was there for a little over a year.
Yeah.
But it was a very small, it was a family run, like trucking and farming company. So I did everything. I used to take their cars to be serviced. I used to help them go to the doctor. I became, great friends with the wife of the owner because I used to have to pump in their kitchen. There's like, it was.
That breaks down some barriers
Yeah.
real fast.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
They were invited to birthday parties, baby showers, stuff like that. So it was like, I was like, did I do something wrong?
Right.
Like, I didn't understand. And I understood business to a degree, but I didn't understand like when business owners have to make hard choices. So like I didn't realize it maybe wasn't about me at all.
Yeah.
And the business owner need to do what was best for them.
Yeah.
And so that was like before they had introduced unemployment or any of these like stimulus things that were happening. So I was really, really scared. And then, you know, they started issuing all of this stuff, which was extremely helpful. So I took a beat and I was able to be like present as a mom,
Yeah.
which was life-changing for me because I went back to work when he was 6 weeks old and I worked 40 hours
right
a week.
through. Yeah.
That's
really hard on a go.
It was
Yeah.
awful. It
Yeah,
was
I get it.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
You can relate.
Yeah, I have a cat. So.
Yeah,
I know. That's your favorite line.
Yeah.
it's
For
really
you,
hard.
it never gets old.
Yeah,
Does
no,
it? Does it? Yeah. Totally relatable.
Crushes every time.
Just your soul
Yeah,
ripped right
yeah,
out. I know.
absolutely.
I know.
Yeah.
But-
So you're a tax professional now
Yes.
and accountant.
Yes. So
Yes.
like everything.
Yeah, okay.
that
One-stop
is
shop.
all- yeah.
Now, how and why did you get into all that? Because I got
Oh.
math is my biggest bully.
Yeah.
It kills me.
Yeah.
Like figuring out the tip on a check,
Yeah.
even if it's $100 bill, I will break out the calculator. I'm like, I don't get it.
I'm a
This is a
psychopath.
I
nightmare.
can do some of that, but
No.
But I think too, and correct me if I'm wrong. I'm curious if this aligns with what you've seen. I think business owners want a business, like we want to do the business.
Yeah. Well,
And all the math crap and all the extra
Well,
stuff.
that's what I'm leading into.
Like, especially
No
us
spoilers.
as creative professionals,
Yes.
we're like, let our brains fly free,
Right.
right?
Yeah.
Like
Taxes will figure themselves
we're
out.
fine. Like,
Yeah.
we
As
won't
long
go
as
to
that
jail.
clothing's
It's
beautiful.
Yeah. They can't arrest
mercy,
me.
right? I
Yeah.
can feign ignorance. But
Yeah.
is that what you see a lot with
Yeah.
business professionals?
Yeah. There's two. There's like
Two
two
groups.
categories. There's the people that like can't let anything go and they want to hold
That
on
makes
to
total
it for
sense.
dear life and I have to pry it out of their hands. And then there's the people that are like, and this is like my tagline. You didn't go into business to do what I do. You went into business to make beautiful clothing, right? Like that's why are you wasting your time when there's somebody else who does it professionally?
Right.
I do a ton of shit half-ass. I'm the queen of, I could do that myself. Yeah. Okay, Allie. Good luck.
That speaks to me so
yeah.
deeply.
Ask my husband.
Yeah.
He'll tell you.
Yeah, mine
Yeah.
too.
Yeah. We have a lot of half-finished projects at our house. It's a
No, I hear you.
Mhm.
What? So, did you go to school for all that? or-
So in high school, I went to a really small high school,
Yeah.
and there was not a lot of extracurriculars. So we banged out all of our like regular core classes the first like 2.5 to 3 years, and like by the beginning, middle of junior year, there wasn't much that I needed to take to graduate. So it was a lot of like filler half-year classes. And they had a business teacher that her husband was a CPA and she was like all things business. So I thought I wanted to go into marketing. So I was taking all of her classes, but you have to pick what aligns with your availability.
Yeah.
So it was like accounting 1, accounting 2, pre-college accounting, like you just kind of took them. And so I hated chemistry. I didn't feel a need for calculus. None of those things were required of us at my school. So I just kept taking, her name is Mrs. Adler. I just kept taking Mrs. Adler's classes.
Nice.
And like, she was fun. She was cool. We would watch Shark Tank and like
Oh,
stuff
neat.
like that. Like it was, you knew you were having a fun time.
Yeah.
And so I did that all of high school. And then when I graduated, I was the first person in my family on both sides to go to college. So I really wanted to get the heck out of here. And I moved to South Carolina and I went
Nice.
to college and I
Congratulations.
hated it
Yeah.
so
Oh my
much.
God.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
It
Cool,
was-
cool.
It was
Yeah.
not.
It's probably a big shock, right?
Yeah.
To the system.
College or that college?
college.
Okay.
I don't do well with, I have ADHD, which I just think is kind of a product of my environment as well. But I got a lot of help for it in high school. So I was able to like take my tests in a different room. And, I had IEP and stuff like that. So they did a lot to help me, which then you don't get that in college. And then like, I guessed, I'm a really good guesser. So I guessed on like my whole Spanish placement exam, and I placed into the highest Spanish class where they speak only Spanish the whole time, and I had no idea what was happening. And I'm like, how did I get here? I'm too smart for my own good. Like, how did I really ruined that for me? Like what the fuck? So I dropped that class, and I dropped it too late. So then I still had to pay for it. It was like I just hated this whole like thing where if you didn't do well, you were wasting your money now. And then I'm like super social. So I wanted to go do social stuff and like experience life outside of, I graduated with 72 kids in my high school.
Like,
that's crazy.
Graduated with like 105.
Graduated with one.
Well,
homeschooled?
Homeschool.
Yeah.
But then, like, my
that's
husband
why you have a
graduated with
cat.
like 500 people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's just,
500?
like
My parents, like
crazy.
in the whenever 70s, graduated with like 1,000 people. And I'm like, what the fuck? Like, there was that
What
many
was
people
happening?
in one place? Like,
yeah.
Manchester, man, they got some big schools.
That's so what?
Did you take any languages?
I did. I took Spanish because it was the closest thing to Italian because they didn't have Italian.
Same.
classes. So I
Really?
went really far with that.
Yeah, I took Spanish, obviously, and let's all laugh about it now. And I remember on the last day, I took Spanish. For 2 years, 4 different classes, and the last course I did, the final exam, same thing. It was only Spanish. I don't know how I made it that far.
Yeah.
And this was at Tungus Community College. And the final exam was like just all Spanish. And it was like one of those things where they look at the paper and the numbers and everything's like floating on the page. And I just wrote, yo.
Stop.
That's all I wrote. And the guy didn't even grade it. He just handed it back to me.
Yeah, like best of luck.
Right.
Exactly.
Good luck in your future endeavors.
He's like, never come
Jesus.
back here. Yeah, I can't speak a word of Spanish.
That's
And,
crazy.
no, languages suck.
Well, so I wanted to ask you, do you feel like now, without getting into the weeds on like ADHD and stuff like that, like I always like feel that I have some characteristics of that, and one of it being like the hyper focus where I can like get into a project and you can't tear me away, or if you do, I am physically like wrecked. I feel it in my body that I can't come
stop
down
thinking
from
about
it. I can't stop thinking about it. I don't like that maybe it's incomplete, but it has to be something that like I'm into, right? If it's something else, I'll leave it and procrastinate till the bitter end. But do you feel like that helps you in a way with the work that you do? Do you have any of that like hyper focus or any of that?
Yeah. I was just working on just cleaning up some reconciliations for a client the other night. And it was like, my husband wanted to go to bed really bad, and I did not want to sit on the couch alone, but I really wanted to finish. And I was like, 20 more minutes. Like, I can get this done in 20 minutes. Like, and then I was in October, and October was a mess. And I was like, I cannot get this done. And I had to put it away. And I like am laying in my bed, and I'm like, you have to go to sleep now.
On it.
Like you have to be done. It's you're safe. Like it's okay. And then like yesterday I woke up and I had a million other things to do, so I couldn't go back to it. And I like had to call that client, and I'm like, I'm not done, and it's all I could think about. And like it's fine. Everything's fine. Like there's nothing wrong, but just like letting you know. It's
but I'll finish it.
Just,
but
that's all I'm thinking about.
Killing
like
me.
it's, I can still see it.
That's how much I love your work, and it's just killing me right now mentally.
I also have like some form of like photographic memory, so like
cool.
it will play in my mind.
You'll
over
see
and over.
the forms or whatever.
And I'm like, and I'm like, why wasn't it lining up though? I don't understand. And I like keep replaying it in my head, like, why isn't it reconciling? Like, this is so dumb. And it's just it's always like one dumb $7.47 transaction. And it drives me absolutely insane.
Always those ones.
I
And
really
like
hate those transactions.
AI is supposed to be like helping with all of this. And I'm like, how did you not know? How did you not know? You should be able to you should be mathing and be like, this is what this equals, and these two are the ones that are no good.
Wrong.
Take them out. Why do I what?
Right. You have to check the robots.
So when I have to place an order, the manufacturer uses an online portal, and
the best thing that they did, and they actually hire me to like train new people on it because I love it so much.
Yeah.
And we have an online portal to place orders. And the best thing that they did was when I hit submit, there's a 6-hour editing period where I can go back and make any changes.
Amazing.
That's smart,
And
actually.
what always happens is I hit submit, I make a sandwich. I'm like, did I put the right measurement in? And I'm like wandering around the house, or I'm like out to dinner and I'm just like, did I type the right fabric number in? Like, it's just crazy how you just start thinking about it. And I go back and I would say 30% of the time I need to make an adjustment.
Yeah.
Like, I'm just like,
nice little safety net there. Yeah.
Because there are so many things where you can choose between a sleeve inseam or a sleeve outseam.
Yeah.
And sometimes I just didn't select one, but I put a measurement.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I could get sleeves that are like 10 feet long.
Oh my
God. Yeah. So it's wild, but like that, I love it because it's like, I don't have what you guys are describing, but I see it from the other side. I'm like, that must have happened so much for them to feel the need to put that 6-hour editing period.
Imagine how many people called.
Yeah. And we're like,
we're just like, I
saves them so much heartache and waste at the end of the day.
Oh, waste. Yeah. Super important.
So with accounting, what is something like, I want to get into the nuts and bolts of like, as a business person.
Yeah.
Give me like one, maybe two things that you wish business owners would either do, or you wish that they knew, or they would stop doing, or whatever. Like, give us like your wisdom.
Wait, I want to expand on that.
Okay.
2 things in general. 1 to 2 things in general. That's not a question. It's a statement. And 1 to 2 things going into tax season.
Okay. 1 to 2 things in general would be to let go of like the control and let a professional take over
do it.
and understand that like you get what you pay for. So I have clients, that set their own budgets, which they have just kind of made up, which is fine. Like everybody does their thing differently. And like, I'm not here to like shame anyone, but it's like not founded in anything other than just what they want the budget to be.
Gotcha.
And so they've set a budget that's not realistic. And then they hire somebody at $20 an hour. And then they wonder why they have to pay somebody like a lot more than $20 an hour to fix it. Yeah. And then they have like this disdain to the person that they pay $20 an hour. And it's like, you just created all this drama for no reason. Like, just admit that you don't know everything about everything. Just like, I don't know everything about everything. I have absolutely nothing about sewing. Yeah. I could pretend,
you probably do really well then.
Yeah.
That's like a gorgeous gown.
Yeah, right? Yeah. It's like, I have no clue.
Yeah, I just guessed.
Drop hem at 0. Making. Yeah. Yeah. But like, and I don't mean that in a way that like, you don't know what you're doing. You shouldn't touch it. But like, at some point, value your business and your business's growth over your own pride. And that's so hard to do. And like, I grew up with a man that I love dearly, that I call dad, who can't let go of his books. And like, he does his books. Yeah. And finally, I have access to the books, but I don't touch them. Yeah. And he does all this stuff and wastes his own time. Yeah. I'll get notifications that he did something. Yeah. And then he'll like complain to me about it. And I'll be like, you didn't need to do any of that. You just wasted so many of your hours that you could have been billing your customers for. Right. Like, go out and make your money and like be the best version of the business owner that you are. Because we, as business owners, we are the laborers, the salesmen, the
marketers,
everything. Yeah. And so like, take something off your plate, respect yourself enough and care about yourself enough. I say all the time that like, having financial assistance and guidance is self-care, is the deepest form of self-care. So I urge business owners to take advantage of the people that are a little bit more knowledgeable than them. Or, maybe I don't know something about your business, but now I'm going to learn, and now I'm going to take that and use that every single time I'm working with your stuff. I'm keeping those things in mind. So it's not like, if you work with the right person, they're not going to come in and be like, I know everything, you know nothing, shut up, and I'll talk to you in 6 months. Like, it's about building a relationship and adding someone to your team.
Yeah.
You're not losing control.
They're like a part of your extended business team.
Yeah.
Do you find that when someone, let's say someone is coming to you from having done their books themselves, and now you're taking over, do you find that there's a lot or consistent, like, I don't want to say mistakes, but like things that they miss? Like, I don't think I've ever done my taxes myself ever.
Yeah.
And it's just so beyond, like, I know how to keep track of my books and all that, and data entry and all that stuff. And I keep all my receipts and do the things.
Yeah.
But I've had certain people do my taxes at one point, and then another, even just switching bookkeepers and accountants.
Mm-hmm.
I've gotten major tax returns or benefits or whatever from doing so. So do you find that people are missing a lot when they go from nothing to something?
I think in the industry in general, there is, for every one of me, there's probably 1,000 of you literally that need help. And like the bigger firms are so overrun. And when you meet with somebody that's like Johnson & Johnson and blah, 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 like there's like 5 partners.
Right.
You meet maybe with that partner one time, and then it's all
the people underneath
that are just kind of coming and going. It's just a job for them. So they're also doing what the classic training teaches them. So what the book is telling them. They're doing things very by the book. I like to compare a classic CPA to like a surgeon, that you need them when things are serious and bad, and they know what to do based on a very specialized training that a lot of other people have also received, and don't really take it and interpret it to be their own, versus working with, if you switch to a smaller firm or like an owner-operator, sometimes you have somebody that they care more about their customers. That's just I don't know, if you don't have to meet with all of your customers face-to-face, how can you know about them to care about them personally? Like my clients, I go to their homes and like I know their kids, they know my son, so there's a different relationship there. So I try to look at everybody's stuff like it's my own or my dad's. That's why I went into business, because I watched my dad struggle through all of these things and have no support. So I really want to be that support for people. And that is more important to me than having a big firm. I could hire a bunch of accountants right now and go and staff an office and go take vacations twice a year and do whatever I want if I wanted to, because the market allows that, because it's such a need for people. And then we were kind of talking before we started filming about the 80%. So like everybody does things 80% the same. We all cook a chicken breast, right, to the internal temperature of 165 degrees. What we do with that last 20% is like our special sauce. It's what sets us apart. So we all can get somebody's taxes filed without committing fraud, probably.
Important.
Like we
Very
all
important.
could, to the best of our knowledge.
Style and seasoning are you putting on that tax return?
But like, what are we looking at the holistic situation?
Right.
So like something that I tell my clients is like, outside of my job, right, I'm very into like holistic wellness and just, looking at the whole situation. So I take that into my work, and I'm not just looking at what's going to benefit you this year, but what is going to benefit you down the road. What are you trying to do in the next 5 years? Are you trying to buy a house? Right. Are you trying to buy a building? Are you like hoping to expand? Because we might not want to take such a heavy loss this year. We might not want to capitalize on some of these assets. We might want to stretch them out, because if you're showing a hard loss, nobody's going to give you funding.
Yeah.
Nobody's going to give you anything. This is your only income. I mean, some people maybe are lucky enough to be married to someone with a W-2 that can kind of, co-sign for stuff. But like, if you're just I thought about it as me, I was a single mom. So like I lived in a 1-bedroom apartment, and when I first started, you know, people want to pay you cash and see if they can get a discount. And I'm like, no, I'm reporting this cash. Like all of this cash is getting reported for me because I need to show money on the books because I need to buy my son a house. And I can't do that if I'm making $30,000.
Right.
Nobody's going to give me anything. Like, so
you have to see exactly like you said, the bird's eye view, that big picture of what the total consequence is, really.
And I think that's difficult in any situation, like whether you own a business or you're just an individual, to take yourself out. And so that's why I again stress it's so important to have a professional to guide you, because I don't have emotional ties to your money. Yeah. Like you're emotionally tied to your money.
That's a very fair point too. I never thought about it that way.
Like you're going to want to take advantage of all these write-ups because it's my money and I want to keep it and I don't want to give it away to anybody.
Right.
But like
I think a single tear just came from Eric.
Yeah.
Talking about emotionally attached to money.
Yeah. Will he die with his last dollar in his hand? I love that for you. I love that for you. Not me. Not me. Oh, no.
Yeah.
God.
But thank you for bringing it back to Melissa's previous question before she interrupted with another question.
It's okay.
Well, we got your first
It
nugget.
makes sense to ask the question on the question.
We got your first one, which is let go.
Yeah.
Let the professional.
Yeah.
You know, I think that's a great point. I'm definitely getting to a point in my business where it's like, is it a net positive for me to be involved?
Yeah.
You know, and I apply that to a lot of other areas of my life. Like, is this a net positive?
Yeah.
And like accounting is definitely getting there to where it's like, no.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I do one transaction a month.
Yeah.
You know, one or two and a busy month. So
not hard to track.
Yeah, exactly. I'm like, this is pretty manageable right now. But like, it's all the other things. It's like buying the hangers, buying the bag, doing this, paying this person, paying this.
All your other expenses.
That, I'm just like, oof.
Yeah.
That's kind of going on.
And then like your business filing and your the BOI, that whole drama and like all of those.
BOI?
Oh God. Oh no. Oh no.
Is that your second thing that people should know?
Oh,
or 1.A.
It is important. If you own an LLC.
It's important and the cops are on their way.
Yeah.
Wait, what does it stand for?
Sorry, that's all the time we have for today.
We're
Wow.
done. I gotta go.
See you
That's
soon.
a break. Yeah.
Business operating what?
It's God help me if I could remember the
right.
No, it's a new filing. I don't know. I'm just having a brain fart because I, of course, like I have to perform right now and
obviously.
I can't. So we could just cut all of this out.
We'll dump you.
Right.
It's with the FinCEN, which is the Financial Crimes Investigation.
I did that.
Okay, beautiful.
You register your business so that they know that you are who you say you are, and they check your identity.
Oh, yeah. I didn't qualify.
It's just so that
I didn't need to.
You don't have an LLC?
I do, but it was something, it was like if you have multiple partners or something. There was a guy.
Now the cops are coming for you.
Yeah,
buddy.
no, we had in this networking group.
Good.
We had a talk about it, like a presentation, and it was like who qualifies for this, and my business did not need to file.
So good. You I encourage everybody to file because it's free. And if you have a bank account that also is for your business, they already know that you're financially responsible for this. It's basically to they're trying to prevent money laundering, which like the people that are money laundering are like really
not
smart.
at my level.
Who would do such a thing?
Report all your cash, assholes.
That's the sound bite.
Literally, that's going on the cover. That's the TikTok.
Please God. No. So you just have to report that you are financially responsible for this business so that they know if you're depositing money into your personal account, like,
Gotcha.
Some people do some shady shit. So I don't really care what my clients do, just as long as they don't tell me about it. I don't want to be
Seems to be
lying.
the stance of
Yeah.
people.
Your
illegal things are not my problem.
Nope. It's whatever you tell me is what you tell me. And that's what I know. I don't know nothing else. I'm not figuring shit out. But
Yeah.
Nope.
I'm not
Those lines.
No.
You got to make sure that you prioritize yourself,
100%.
outsource, and then we talked about the BOI.
Yes.
what is your second, or is that your second general rule? Nugget. Knowledge that you want to pass along.
Yeah. No, I think my second one would be in the first 2 years. The first year is kind of you're figuring everything out. So don't be afraid to make mistakes that first year. And don't apologize for those mistakes. I have so many people that are like, oh, I'm so embarrassed, or like nobody knows what they're doing. And we've been trained to be employees our whole lives and follow someone else's lead. And so there's nobody leading you. So it's okay. You're cool. No one's if someone is judging you, if you're talking to somebody and if you feel judged, remove yourself from that situation. Yeah. That's always my first thing. I want my clients to feel comfortable. This is me. I take my shoes off. I sit cross-legged with, this is about as fancy as I get. Come to my house, or I'll come to your house and come sit on my couch. And you're just a normal person. I'm just a normal person. I'm just trying to make a difference in the world and find our way. So don't be embarrassed to make mistakes. And then a lot of people treat their business when it starts doing well as the same as a paycheck. And we can't treat it the same as if we were earning a paycheck for someone else, because that business deserves to be reinvested in, unfortunately. Because if you're doing really well, you want to go and live really well, right? If you make $100,000 in your first year, now it's no money, but when I was 23 years old, if I made $100,000 in a year, I'd be sick, let's go.
Yeah.
And now you have to almost live cheaper.
I love when I see people on Instagram be I run a 6-figure business. I was so you're poor.
Yeah. That's for you.
Yeah,
so
cool.
does everyone.
Right. Yeah, exactly. 6 figures is chump change.
What's your profit margin?
There you go. And that's what I was going to say.
Me.
You can get to 100K in a lot of businesses.
Yeah.
How much did you keep?
Yeah, exactly. I
How
remember,
much did you keep?
I think I made over 100,000 in my third year.
Mm-hmm.
And I was
Amazing.
cool. And my takeaway was $9,000.
Yeah. It was 3,000 when I hit 100K.
Yeah.
I was that hurts so bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're wait, what?
But talk about a way, if there's something that'll smarten you up to business and finances real quick, it's seeing those margins.
Realizing
seeing those margins. It makes you a bit more, I'll use the word sympathetic, to maybe not big businesses, but medium businesses where you're maybe they did something or they had to fire somebody or whatever. And you're oh, that guy's a jerk. And maybe the books dictated. Like you said, you talked about in the beginning, making hard decisions to cover, to make sure your business stays alive. Basically.
It definitely
live to
informed
fight
my
another day.
marketing.
Yeah.
Because it was oh, well, now I can talk about why more, why this stuff costs.
Yeah.
Yep.
Because I'm I need to pay for shipping. I need to pay for hangers. I need to pay for this. One of the biggest things that I tell people about some the unfortunate cash flow problems is I have to order garment bags.
Yeah.
Garment bags are $500 because you got to order a certain amount.
Yeah.
Right. There's a minimum.
But I only need to give away maybe 1 a month, 2 a month.
So you have them forever.
So I have them forever. But then when I do buy, I don't have.
You don't get their return.
One sale just pays for that whole thing.
Yeah.
That means now I'm going a month without any extra income. That type of stuff is what kills you.
Yeah.
Yes.
One little trip you got to go on or something. If there's something in the business that you got to pay for, it's oh my, wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so now things start to, now I got to, what is it, steal from Peter
Rob
to feed
Peter
Paul?
to pay Paul.
That kind of thing.
Yep.
It's just insane.
I had to buy a computer, a new computer.
Oh my God.
And it was what the?
Yeah.
How expensive. Yep.
I just bought the one that I had when I started my business, which was 2021. And I was okay, this is an Apple. I paid over $2,000 for this, which it feels like a considerable amount of money. I had to take out a personal loan to get it. And that was the big expenditure because that's my tool. That's my only tool other than my vehicle.
Yeah.
And so when I started having problems, it really like kills your productivity when like the one tool is not functioning correctly. So they explained to me that I didn't have enough RAM for what I was trying to do, and that all my files were taking up all of my RAM. So I couldn't.
Oh my God.
There was no way because it was like I opened 2 programs and then that was it. It would die.
Yeah, that's it. Done. Yep. That's crazy.
And I kept trying to like milk it because I love to spend money, except when it's like a lot at one time. Like I'm really good at
you take death by 1,000 expenses.
That's me.
Yeah.
So then when I'm like, I have to spend how much? Because I'm not going to replace it with the same thing. I need to replace it with something that's 10 times better. Yeah, because now I'm doing 10 times the workload. Like, and I'm also, when you market a certain level of service, right, and you ask for a certain level of investment, like you're committed to that level of excellence. So I can't have something that's subpar and then be like, okay, now pay me.
Trust me with, yeah.
Oh my God, that I feel so much. So I have that discussion a lot with my cars that I've been buying over the last couple of years because I'm like, the sensible thing would be for me to just get some like Toyota Corolla. It's cheap, it's affordable, it's reliable. I'm like, I can't roll up to someone's house in a Toyota Corolla and be like, pay me $5,000 for. That's insane. So I would get like a nice car on the outside, but it's like Band-Aids holding the engine in.
You and cars is like a whole podcast
I've got cars
episode.
spread across the state.
You're
insane.
Just
alleyways.
Literally.
I'm like, R.I.P.
It's done.
And I'll come back. I'll come back and burn you.
His accountant is like, has the asset list.
Why do you have 6 cars on this list?
Yeah,
like
exactly.
this
We're
depreciation
depreciating
list.
another one, man?
Yeah. No,
Are you sure?
it's insane. But that is a huge part of it. Kind of not fake it till you make it, but like presenting. You have to present in a certain way.
Yeah. No, that's definitely.
I wanted to ask you so we're talking about like car write-offs and whatever. What are like common write-offs, maybe not common write-offs is the answer, that you think that people don't take advantage of enough or they're not aware of? Or
Sales tax.
Oh,
it's a good one. That's a good one. I was just talking to my brother. I did my brother's taxes yesterday, and like he owns a business that he doesn't really do a lot with. So there wasn't a lot to offset his W-2 income, and he bought a car. And I was like, go get your like the whatever pink slip that they gave you with everything listed out. Let's find out how much sales tax you have. Because if you, there's 2 options. You take the standard deduction. This is for everybody, not just business owners. You take this standard deduction, which is like if you're single, head of household, married, filing jointly, there's different standards. They change every year. Or you take the itemized deduction. So if you have like a lot of out-of-pocket medical expenses and your doctor's office is really far away, maybe you track your medical and your medical miles. If you are buying a lot of stuff and you can write off up to $10,000 of sales tax if you keep the receipts. So that's a huge.
Interesting. Okay.
So if you have that $10,000 worth of sales tax and $10,000 worth of out-of-pocket medical expenses, and you're a single person, that's better than the standard deduction is like $14,800 or something. I think this year. I should really know that off the top of my head. So.
That's okay.
The computer does it.
Changes. Exactly.
A lot. IRS, they don't know what they want anyway, so they change it every year based on cost of living.
Sick.
Yeah.
So
I don't think they're changing it in my favor.
Yeah,
okay,
exactly.
Whatever.
Yeah. Feels like that's not great for us.
It's not. It's good. It's good.
Can someone write off the cost of an accountant?
Yeah.
It's a business expense, right?
100%.
So there you go.
Yeah.
You write it off.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Who pays for it?
Tax people.
Who pays for it? Yeah.
Yeah.
The write-off people.
Yeah. So
I really want to do. I want to do like a bit on that soundbite so
you
bad.
Have to.
But like, I'm so judgy that I'm like, this is so. What do I say? Like, what do I?
Just that.
Yeah.
Literally, just voice that.
Yeah.
So we need to land this plane on the 2 things.
Yes.
Now 2 things going into tax season.
Yes.
What are things that people should know?
Well, I think I didn't finish my second thing, which was
we derailed you.
Hey.
Yes, it's okay. I don't know. So
red ball.
it was me.
Squirrel.
Wow. So the first year is trial and error. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. The second and third year, live like you're broke and like get over this like ego thing of like, I'm making tons of money. I need to do whatever I want. I'm like this big bad business owner. If you can have the discipline to be poor years 2 and 3, you will live rich 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. It will sustain itself. You need to invest in people years 2 and 3. Year 1 is investing in figuring it out, what works for me, what doesn't work for me. Okay, now year 2, I need to find me. And my doppelganger exists out there. They are expensive, so I need to figure out what they cost and how I'm going to bring them in. And unfortunately, there's nowhere else I can cut corners because I figured out what didn't work in year 1 and what I really need to spend money on. Right. So the only thing that can get cut here is my income. Yeah. But if you take responsibilities off of yourself and you have somebody doing exactly what you can do and you can go sell, you can go train another person, you can build market. I mean, there's so many things that now you're freed up to do. That is how you scale. Mm-hmm. If you can't free yourself up and you are the gatekeeper of all things in your business, you will forever bottleneck yourself and you could have a 6-figure business, like we were saying, and be successful on paper, but your business will never be big enough for you to sell. You'll never be able to go on vacation. Yeah. God forbid you ever get sick. I mean, I had the flu and it was like, yeah. And I'm like, yep, it's time. We just need another me. And it's scary. Yeah. I hired a bunch of girls when I first started, paid them all $20 an hour and thought that I was going to get quality work from them. And they ran my name through the ground and lost me a bunch of clients. And I was in the hospital and I had them all ghost me and like just run off with my money. So, you can get a bunch of cheap help. You can get a ton of cheap help, or you can get one really good person and just keep replicating that same process. Once that person is established, then you see, okay, are we making more money now? Because now I'm going out and selling more and they're doing the work and I'm doing the work. Can we add a third? And you just have to be disciplined and slow. And it is very hard to not want to not see success and be like, okay, grab. You want to build something that's long lasting. So it's really a 3-year process when you start a business, and you have to keep that in mind. And then along the way, you're going to make a million mistakes, and you just have to be humble and gracious and like learn, what is this teaching me? Like, this is not happening to me. This is happening for me. Like, what can I learn from this?
Yep. Yeah. Very cool.
That's number 2. Yeah. Number.
All right.
Number.
Now going into tax season.
Yes.
And those are quick, easy tips.
Yeah. So just try to stay organized throughout the year. Even if you have like a notebook or folders, you don't have to have a bookkeeping system. Don't overcomplicate things if your business is really pretty simple. And then, kind of don't wait till the last minute. A lot of people freak out and they're like, I don't know what I'm doing. I don't want to pay you $2,000. I only want to pay you, $800. So I'm going to do all the work myself and I'll get it to you. And like, you don't have the time. You don't have the time. You should not have committed to that. Like, I know you don't have the time. And now it's going to be awful because now I have to figure it out.
Everybody. Yeah.
Yep. And now it costs more. Like, and most of the time, like the closer you get to April, the more it starts to cost you.
Sure.
So really like having a handle on things in December so that you're just wrapping up December's numbers and then waiting for your forms in January, and then mid-January, end of January, you're handing things off and you're just like pretty much done. And then, making sure that you make time for an appointment, check in, and understand, like, just ask questions. You don't have to be like mean and like jarring to your accountant, but just like, what is this doing for me in the long run?
Yeah.
How is this benefiting me next year, the year after? Is there anything that you would do differently if these were your personal numbers?
I like that question.
So, asking for their genuine advice, because when you have 2,000 clients, like, you're just churning them out.
Yeah, you're just getting the job done.
Yeah.
That's it.
And
no nuance.
A lot of firms are like that. And I'm not knocking other firms and saying like, you should only hire me. Like, because I
should.
Yeah.
But there's pros and cons to each, right? Just like you said, like they're like a bigger firm might be great in a pinch, or in if you're in trouble or whatever.
Or like if you have in-house, if you have somebody in-house that's doing like a lot for you, like a financial manager or a bookkeeper that's inside the business every day, that kind of has a feel for things. It's not so bad, because that they're organizing things in a way that's the most advantageous for the accountant. They can communicate with the accountant on your behalf and check in with them, because like most of the time these accountants are not knocking down your door. If you don't call them, they're not calling you because they're so overwhelmed.
They're fine. They got business. They're not worried about you. Like, they're not worried about what's coming from you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Do you, what if anything, do you recommend, maybe the answer is the same or different, for a small business or even an individual to use as like a tool, let's say like an accounting tool, for if they're going to file their taxes themselves or if they're going to use a CPA?
Sure. QuickBooks is like the, lesser of all the evils out there. There's a lot of other like free programs that are a mess. I have tried them. I am big, huge small business. Like, that is my bread and butter. So if I don't have to give Intuit, TurboTax, QuickBooks my money, like, I would be very, very happy. But it is the best tool that's out there. As far as integration, it integrates with, pretty much any payment processor, any like CRM that you're using to manage your customers. And then they spent millions and millions of dollars on building these relationships with the banks, so they can actually pull all of your transactions.
They do it all automatically now.
Automatically, without all of this extra like security bogus. So all of your data is still really secure, but you're getting it all pulled in real time. And then you go in and set rules and utilize some of the AI that's available. I don't recommend leaning super heavy on it, because sometimes you have to use human thought to make decisions. But if every single time you go to Cumberland Farms, you're getting gas, set a rule. Don't waste your time touching that. Like, there's no reason to pick fuel/gas every time. The computer will do it. So utilize some of those tools. It's relatively inexpensive. If you aren't invoicing and you don't have CRMs, you can get the one through an accountant that's called Ledger. It's like $10 a month, which to be organized and like not have to worry about things, I think is worth $120 a year. I mean, like, that's a tank of gas at this point. Like, I mean, if you're going to spend your money on anything, like, get a nice pair of jeans and a good bookkeeping system. Like, I don't know what else. Like, that's literally, if turning 30 taught
and then
me
write
anything,
off the jeans because you're wearing them for work only.
Yes, exactly.
Correct. Yeah. Also, be careful with a lot of the stuff that's out on social media of like, you can write off your facials and your nails and your hairdo. There's different levels of what is acceptable. So like, writing things off and calling it a business expense when you're preparing your taxes is one level. If you have to go to tax court, a lot of these things that are justifiable as business expenses for your business may not hold up in tax court based on tax law. So that's where having a professional to advise you, like, hey, you can write this off and it's a business expense. If you get audited and we have to go to tax court, this may not hold up. So if it's $100, is it worth taking the chance on $100? Sure. Okay. Or if it's $10,000 and it might not hold up, and then you have to pay taxes on $10,000, that's a lot more in penalties and interest and fines. So it's about understanding the different levels of what's allowed and making sure that you're working with a qualified professional versus like what's on TikTok. Because I do work with influencers and they're like, oh, I follow this influencer and this is what they said. And I'm like, okay, but you have to like check all these boxes first. And so that is scary. Yeah. A lot of people are doing their own stuff now because you're able to with TurboTax or even like there's free e-file. If you make under a certain amount of money, you can file with the state and the federal government for free. It's just basically the forms. It's not as like in-depth and helpful as TurboTax would be. So you could go out and put in whatever information you want. At the end of the day, it's you're the taxpayer, you're the one who's responsible for it. So just like making sure that you understand that and like that you're prepared if you have to answer questions based on the data that you provided, that you're able to answer those questions and back it up with documentation.
Yeah, I remember, I don't know, not maybe last year, I have Amazon Prime, and I know. And somehow I was like renting movies on Amazon, which should have had my personal credit card, but it had my business credit card swapped. So at the end of the year, my accountant was like, what are all of these like $4 Amazon charges? Yeah. And I was like, documentaries about fashion. I was learning.
Which is fine.
Yeah, exactly.
It's fine. Yeah.
Yes, because that's what I was watching.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Or like if you get books like on Amazon, like some
not on Amazon.
Not on Amazon. No.
Never on
lovely bookstore.
Never on Amazon.
Never on Amazon.
Sorry.
We do audiobooks.
Yeah.
So my son Carson,
Kindle or whatever.
Yeah. Audible.
Yeah. I like Audible.
I like the brought to you by Audible.
Yeah. But so wildly, we're in the home stretch of this conversation. But I do want to take a step away from the accounting stuff and just, you said that you eat, sleep, and breathe small businesses. I want you to like shout out some of your small businesses and like what's it meant to you now that you are a small business owner and got started at such a fucking crazy time.
Yeah.
I got started a year before.
Yeah.
It was just like, it sounds crazier. I don't know if this is true for you. It sounds crazier when you talk about it now.
Yes. Than when you were doing it.
When we were doing it.
It was just like whatever.
Another day.
Yeah. Yeah,
we were too unknowing of how this was going to shake out.
Right. COVID was going to last 2 weeks. Yeah. So we were fine. You know?
Yeah.
But like, so what's small business meant to you? And like, who are some of your businesses?
So it's wild because growing up, my dad owned his own business my whole life, and he burned it into our brains that we should never own our own small businesses.
That's so funny.
And that we should go work for somebody else and get a paycheck and not have to.
Wow.
Which is
here we all are.
Here I am, Dad.
We showed him.
F you, sir. So he's my OG small business. He owns James Blair Landscape and Design out of Columbia, and he does some amazing stonework. I also work with Rooted Dreams Floral. So I planned my own wedding, which was an awful idea. Hire a wedding planner and let them do the work for you. Don't hire them and then do the work for them. So I was at one of the shows, the wedding shows, and I didn't even want flowers. I wanted to spend no money. So I wanted like fake flowers. I was going to buy them on Marketplace and then sell them afterwards. And my mom was like, "You should talk to these women. They're from Stafford, where we live." So I'm like, "Okay, whatever." So I go over there and I'm talking, and the woman that owned the flower farm that was there, her daughter was getting married the same day as me, but the woman that was with her, which is Linnea, she was available, and she's like, "If you just want a bouquet and you want everything else to be fake, like I can help you." That's not how it played out at all. She did an amazing job. and had to come up with extra arrangements the night before the wedding because I'm bridezilla. But she does some beautiful work. She recently started doing a bouquet bar at UConn. You can also go to her shop and shop a bouquet bar and like make your own bouquet, which I think is so cool.
Really neat.
And she features a ton of small businesses in her shop. So she has one woman that makes soap and tallow balm, and a couple of different artists that do prints and stuff like that. So she's super cool. I also work with the tree service out of Somers, Connecticut. That is a great family-run business, Mountain Tree Service. They've been in business for 42 years. They have taught me so much in business about the importance of being excellent at what you do and not trying to do a million things, just being really, really good at your craft. Yeah.
Amen to that.
Yep.
Yeah, niche it down. So I work with them pretty regularly. Sandra Morgan Downey, she is a online presence.
I know her name.
She is
I don't
so
know
cool.
Why.
She was in like Connecticut Living. She's been in a few magazines. She bought a home in Broadbrook and they redid the whole thing on social media. So she's been in the space for a while.
Is she in the Connecticut Women's Business Development Council?
I don't think so.
No. Okay.
No.
I'm going to go investigate her afterwards.
Yeah,
that name
she's
is
so
too
cool.
familiar. Yeah,
she's
gotta
super
scratch
cool.
that itch.
She's an esthetician, and she did my makeup for prom when I was in high school. So I've known her for a really long time. Yeah. Like a lot of my clients, like I've known them or their family somehow for a super long time.
What about what's your
It's almost as if we're all connected.
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, woven together?
Woven together?
Like the fabric of America?
Yeah. I literally love it. I was at Shar House yesterday, which is the bakery that I helped open in Bolton. It's a micro bakery. They specialize in gluten-free. Everything is gluten-free. They also offer other like dairy-free options. I sampled a vegan loaf yesterday. That was amazing. And she does macarons, French macarons. Amazing. And then they get all of their coffee from Silk City Coffee, which is another awesome small business. And so like really community over competition, like they all work together. We're not far from each other, Bolton and Manchester, and they come over. She had a problem with I say we, like I own it. I am the CFO, so I serve as like management in that way. And then I've built like this beautiful relationship with the owner, who has become one of my closest friends. So I really love like helping somebody take an idea. When I met her, this was an idea. Like she had just signed the lease. There was nothing. And she was like, can I do this for real? Like, am I going to lose my house? And I was like,
that's an important question.
I can't, off the record, I can't guarantee anything, so don't come for me. If this is about
it doesn't work out.
This is not my food service is scary.
Food is scary.
Food service is intense with margins and stuff like that. That's where that the rule of threes comes in. So like labor, materials, profit, each need to have their own third. And when you start pushing into the other one, you really don't want to push into the profit third. So that is one of the coolest projects that I've been a part of, and really empowering women in the workplace. She left a corporate job to open up this bakery and wants to create a safe space for people that are not traditional employees, cogs in the machine, like that are looking for something that's more fulfilling than that. So it's a super awesome place. Cool. Yeah. And they host a lot of other businesses there too. So there's a local group of therapists that go and they have a breakfast once a month there. Yeah.
What a fun way to be like, it's not just like I'm opening, these are my operating hours.
Yeah.
Like, you're really serving and doing and engaging to bring the community in.
Yeah, exactly.
Very cool.
You're a part of the community.
Yes.
Yeah.
I feel like that's super important as business owners because all of these big businesses, right? Like they don't like see what it's like when we all have to go home, right? And like what we have to carry. Most of the people that own these big giant corporations, they don't have these like small problems that normal everyday people have. And so keeping that all in mind, and it's hard. Everything is so expensive right now. So if we go in with this like, oh, they're charging me so much for this, and this like anger and disdain for each other, like look at your costs and what's costing you to stay afloat. Like imagine what's costing them to stay afloat. Like let's lift each other up. And like
empathy goes a long way. Sympathy, empathy. Yep.
Yeah, no, I saw a TikTok ad last night. This kid, on the stupid TikTok shop, he got a top coat for $20.
No.
I was like,
thank you.
Bro.
Thank you for that.
$20?
Yeah.
Impossible.
Shipped from another part of the world.
Yeah.
And you think that's I was like, that's enough scrolling for me today.
Yeah.
That's enough of the internet.
I am deceased.
Yeah, but
all set.
It really is so important to just like find that community, give back, be a part of it, not just see it as a way to boost your own business.
Your own self-interest.
It's very much just like, oh yeah, because you do get that empathy, that you do get that, they've got their expenses and not on mine. Like I had to move last night and there was this huge debacle with the movers that showed up like 9 hours late, and only one mover showed up. One guy. So I had to be the other guy. Yeah. So
did you get a discount though?
I got a discount. The guy said he was going to give me a full refund, but I was like, you own a business. I'll take a 50%.
That was very kind.
I want you to,
that was
had to pay for
still
that.
came over. You still actually did the work.
I was like, I literally could not have done it if you didn't come.
Correct.
Like we did it.
Yeah.
Is it how I wanted it to go? No.
Didn't go smooth.
But like, you had to pay for gas. You have to pay for the employee. You have to pay for this.
Yeah.
I don't want you to lose money.
Yeah.
And that only comes from being a business owner.
Yeah.
Well, and I think that's what's at the core of it all, because we're meeting so many business owners across so many industries. That's the commonality. It's now that we've lived it, we either we want to share it with other people. We want to make other people who are coming into it, we want to make their life easy, learn from my mistakes. We want to share. We want to we get each other on a deeper level that people just don't understand. I even think about Nikki's episode where we were talking about if you have friends who aren't business owners or aren't really close with other business owners, they don't get it. And they're not, it's not that there's hostility or any of that. It's just we're on different planes and we can't always, it can affect your other relationships negatively sometimes if people don't get it, what you're going through.
And especially I feel like price, I have, obviously I service businesses and individuals. So I have people that are individuals that come to me and they're like, oh, how much is it going to cost to have my taxes done? And I give them a quote and then I never hear from them. Yeah. And they're like, oh, I'll just do it on TurboTax. Well, TurboTax is the same price or more expensive at the end of the day. And I'm married now, but up until this year, I was a single mom, single income. I don't get help from anyone. Don't you know me? I would get so personally offended, and that's something else that I tell a lot of my clients now. I've become a therapist for my clients. It's wild. But I tell them it's not about you, it's about them. So their inability to pay your price has nothing to do with your value. And you have to remember that
you have to remove yourself from that a little bit.
Yeah, I got a really good referral the other day. My fabric rep, John, he lives in Cincinnati, and his college roommate, they graduated 50 years ago. He lives here in Branford. And so he sent him to me because we're friends in the industry. I'm so thankful. And the gentleman purchased a suit and a sport coat from me. And I talked him into getting a shirt, and then I gave him the shirt complimentary. And afterwards, I sent the client the invoice, and he sent it to John just to make sure that everything, because it was a big number.
Correct.
And he was like, does all this look good? And John told him, he was like, yeah. And I see that Matt gave the shirt for free. And he's like, it's a small business, so it's not free. Matt's going to pay for that.
Yeah.
And he said that to the client.
Good
it's
for
like,
him.
That's huge.
Yeah.
You know,
means
just
a
like
lot.
those little reminders of like, I'm not like, free isn't free.
Yeah.
You know, somebody's paying for it and it's going to be me.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just I'll cover the cost.
Much
of the
like a
shirt.
$20 top coat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Somebody's paying for that in one way or another.
Yeah.
Seriously.
So it is really important to know that kind of backstory and know what's going into your business. But I think the biggest takeaway I've had so far is like you're talking about the, don't be afraid to let go.
Yeah.
You know, and like that, like focus on what
I actually think the best business owners they may not like it, but they're able to let go.
Outsource it, you know?
They're able to let go.
Yeah.
You have to be able to find trusted people, whether you're talking about employees or people that you decide to like get into bed with, you know, like an accountant or a long-term financial planner or whatever.
Yeah.
You have to have that mutual trust back and forth.
Yes. Yeah. Super important.
Well, thank you.
One other, it's because we were talking about community. I forgot. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
One other business I want to shout out that is new in the community, especially for women, is called Hearts in Hartford.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know Erin?
She was on here.
Oh, really? Oh,
yeah.
I did not see that episode. I'm terrible.
Yeah,
oh my God.
Okay.
So I've been working with her recently, and I'm super excited for everything that she's doing. Those are the businesses when I get to meet them.
Imagine you two in a room.
Right.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm just like mushroom cloud of energy. Like there with the sunglasses.
So my husband has a Pantone. So we have also had my cousin Krista on the show, who is a bridal shop owner. She's also my best friend. And my husband always jokes, he's like, the two of you get together and all it is he's like, you goes, you'll be out for 3 hours and you're just That's how I imagine you.
So we even never
like
met in real life.
Are you serious?
Yeah. So we've talked on the phone a bunch.
Yeah.
I got connected. I started following her through somebody who was a tire kicker and came and told me they were going to hire me and then didn't hire me.
Yeah.
But they were sharing businesses. So that's like really how I connect with people, is they just start following them on Instagram and like genuinely, authentically connecting with them.
Yeah.
And so I was really mad because I found out that person wasn't going to hire me. And I was like, oh, I wasted so much time. And that same, like within 3 days, Erin like posted that she was looking for an accountant. Yeah. And I was just like, oh, hey, like if you need any help, like give me a call. Like even if you just want to talk, like I'm here. Yeah. And she like texted me immediately and she's like, oh my God. Yeah. And we started talking. We've had a few calls. And then March is crazy for me, and she is really starting to dial in the business. Yep. And so she's like, can I come meet with you? And I was like, Carson has a half day on Monday. I'm going to be home. You want to come hang out with us? And she's like, are you sure? Like at your house? And I'm like, no, this is what we do. This is what I do. Like come into my, I'm here to take care of you. I'm the work mom.
Well, like, and even this episode today and you coming here was born out of, we were having a conversation with Mitch talking about taxes and you just hit me up and you were like, I would love to talk more about taxes and small business and blah, blah. And I'm like, yes, done.
Yeah.
Like,
and I it was funny. I was like in the car with my husband and my son, and we're listening to music, and I'm like, I'm so sorry, I have to unplug this because I need to listen to it because it says taxes, and so I just want to find out what they're talking about here. And then I was like, wait, but this is about tariffs, and I was like, but we could talk about taxes. I want to go hang out with them. Should I send her a message? And my husband's looking at me like, do whatever you want, you freaking weirdo. Yeah. And then like I was with my
mom.
Our
kind of people.
Yeah, exactly. You manifested.
Right.
Yeah.
And here you are.
Yeah.
And that's so wild that you brought up Erin. Because, she was a guest. Wow.
It was a while ago.
Like 10
it
people
must
ago?
be a while ago because I do. I'm like, I follow. Like, because I just had a meeting with Nikki and I was like, oh, it's so funny that she was on here too.
Yep.
Yeah. It was about 3 months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is wild.
Yeah. She's been doing so much.
Yeah.
She has an event next week in New York City.
Yeah.
When I met her, I didn't realize she also runs all three of the chapters.
Yep.
I'm like, Yeah, you don't have kids, huh? Like,
Yeah.
oh, she's young.
I
She's
say that to
full
him
of
all the
it.
time.
Yeah.
Like,
I have a
but
cat.
you've got a
I have a
cat.
cat.
So
I have
you
a
go
cat.
full circle.
So to be fair, it's the same.
Yeah, it's the same.
Same,
It's the same.
but different. But
Yeah,
same.
no, not really. It's the same. Yeah, it's good.
This episode is just going to end with me like,
Yeah, just like,
exactly.
it's just Melissa's
Yeah.
like smoking a cigarette. Like,
chain smoking in the corner.
Well, Allie, thank you so
Thank
much
you,
for
Allie.
being
yes,
here.
so
Like,
fun.
fun.
you definitely are one of those people. You know, I think everybody knows that no matter how rough a subject may be, if you have the right teacher, it'll be amazing.
Yeah.
You are definitely that person with
Thanks.
taxes.
That means so much.
Because like taxes can be definitely taxes. It's scary. It's awful. I don't want to do it, or I'm just going to do it myself. Blah blah blah. You are somebody that I know can like make people feel safe. Like your business is in good
goal always.
Yeah. So thank you so much for being on here.
Safe. Yeah.
And just we'll put it all in the show notes, but shout out your website where people can find you.
So my Instagram is at A Blair Bookkeeping. I'm on Facebook at facebook.com/A Blair Books. I don't have a real website. I use social media, really.
Yeah.
There's a link on my Instagram to my milkshake, which like is just like a link tree. Isn't that terrible? That's what it's called, milkshake.
And it brings all the books to the
Yeah,
audience.
it does.
Thank you.
It really does. Ask anyone.
That's a real waiting to happen.
Well, yeah.
Oh,
Wow.
man.
That is a marketing ploy
I just
waiting
see
to
like
literally. Dance monkey dance. That's all Meta's making us do.
Wow.
Amazing. Allie, thank you so much.
you
It was
very
such a
much.
pleasure. And
So
thank you
great
to the
to meet you
listener
guys.
for
Yes.
tuning in for another episode of The Fabric of America.